see that?
You sure can.
Okay. All right, welcome. Thank you so much for being here at my very first webinar. Um, you guys are going to make this awesome. So, first of all, I just really want to thank everyone who sent me their fabulous videos. I would not have been able to do this without you. And we got so many good tips and great videos to share, so I'm really excited. Um, Here's kind of what our agenda looks like. We've done the introduction. Um, this webinar is based on my concept, on a show that my husband and I used to watch called The Best Thing I Ever Ate on the Food Network channel. And it's like the famous chefs from around the nation talking about their the best thing they ever ate. And I thought that applying that to this drapery workroom industry would be really fun, um, and interesting to see what our familiar faces in our industry have to share with us. So, first of all, I want to warn you that there is a little game involved. So, if you get your pens and a piece of paper, we're going to start off with a little matching game. I have 12 videos that were sent in, and on the right side here are the people who shared videos with us, and on the left side is the topic that they covered. So, for those of you who want to participate, grab a piece of paper, number it 1 through 12, and this is going to be totally a guessing game, but I think if you're here and submitted a video, you at least have one that would be an advantage for you. So I encourage all of you to participate, and then I am going to have a prize, and we'll find out the answers at the end. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to make your guesses before we start sharing the videos.
Okay. This is fun. Robin Matthews. I wonder what she did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robin had a good.
I bet.
They're all good, so I can't give you any clues.
No, I'm guessing though. Hmm.
Sorry.
I think I know what Susan Woodcock did.
And you can also take a picture. Take a picture with your phone if you want to keep guessing. In the At the end, we will go through and see how many we got right, and whoever has the most will win a prize.
That's good.
Okay, just to go back to the agenda, I'm going to share I've segmented this into groups. So there's 4 groups of videos. There's 3 videos per group. And I'm going to play all 3 videos, and then there will be a section for reactions and discussion. Um, Jennifer is going to unmute everybody, and if you could share your video and we could just have a little community discussion between each, that's kind of the way it's going to work. So we're going to get started. Would anyone like more time?
I took a picture, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So here's we are in a little bit of a Halloween fall theme. So got some candy corns and bats flying around, but The prize will be a sample pack of my favorite little workroom supplies, some of my favorite little hand Halloween candies, and a mini pack of those spooky little orbs.
Well, that's nice.
Here is group one presenters. First, we have Jessie Lee Miller from Winston's Workroom, Laura Nelson from So Nice Creations, and Sue Berry from So Stylish Designs.
Hi, I am Jessie Lee Miller with Winston's Workroom, and today I wanted to show you a handy little tool that I've been using to mount fabric onto my Roman shade headrails for testing purposes. You can also use it when you're tacking fabric in place for cornices. And this is a tool that helps you set the push pins that so many of us use to double check the finished length of our shades and our cornices before we staple everything in place. And so it is called a core jack test kit. It is originally made for the needlepoint industry. And this kit here comes with a wooden shaped tool that is magnetized on the end for picking up push pins,
Wow.
and a handy little stapler remover. So let me show you how it works. It also
So
comes with a
cute.
tacks as well. Okay. So what I like about this tool is that it's ergonomically designed so it can fit into the palm of your hand, and it gives you more even pressure when you're pushing the push pin into your wooden head reel. So right here, I'm mounting a Roman shade. This is my 1x2. And just want to tack it in to make sure that my finish length is correct and that my pattern is straight across the board. It's really easy to load up the tacks and push everything in place. And now once I am satisfied with it and I put all my staples in and I want to remove it, that's when the handy little stapler comes into play. And so the little staple remover just slides right underneath the tack and pops in. And that's it. So that is the core jack test kit, and it's available through needlepoint stores. Thanks.
Laura Nelson.
Hi, I'm Laura Nelson. I own So Nice, a workroom in West Lafayette, Indiana, and I've been in business for 31 years. This is one of my favorite tools, has been for a very long time. It's a Black & Decker laser level. Doesn't matter what brand it is. I mean, it's probably less than $10 or so. Runs on a battery, no charger. And I like to use it on my work table to check the pattern on fabrics. And I used to use this when I did not have a gridded work table. It still remains one of my favorite tools. So I lined up the fabric, the edge of the fabric, and a straight line on the table. And just decide I'm using the 0 mark on my grid and line this up. Put a pin down here at the other side. And you may have to put something behind here so that you can see that where it's lining up. And that looks good. So as you can see, I'm looking at this flower here. Those two are in pretty good positions. This one gets a little higher. We nudge this down a little bit, and this one gets even higher still. And as an embroidered sheer, the pattern's going to drift a little bit, but this at least gives me a nice cut, straight edge for a hem and the header. And this works great also for pattern fabrics as well. So again, I have the fabric on a straight line running down the length of the table. I know that this is a straight match pattern because I've already checked that, and that's where those pins are, where the seam is going to be when I match up the pattern. So I want to see if this has been printed. It's a print. as you can see. I want to know if this has been printed straight or if I need to block the fabric at all. So I will again line up the razor level. And you see that needs to be corrected a little bit. There we go. It is, the line now is going through this pin over to here on the other zero line. And it is obvious to me that this pattern is off about an inch. I could probably get that down to, and half an inch or so. And you can see down here where it was cut on the pattern also, and how it drifts that much also. So again, it's about 3/4 up here, a quarter down here. I will have to block the fabric to get it to be straight. Hope you like the tip.
And Sue Berry.
Hi, I'm Sue Barry, owner of So Stylish Designs in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and I make a ton of valances. My biggest pet peeve is a floppy return. And of course, I could have my installer affix it to the wall with a brad nail, but I just don't think that that would stand the test of time. So what I started to do was use this Sela product. So let me show you. Sela makes two different wire products. One is a 1/4 inch flat metal wire, and one is this skinny brass wire. It's a 20 gauge brass wire with tape. Both of them have adhesive tape on both sides. And so I use this when I have a heavy fabric, like an upholstery weight or blackout lining. But the majority of the time I use this product because it's nice and lightweight. So what I have here is two different kinds of jabots. This would be like a stacked cascade, and this is just a straight across type valance. And I outlined the stitch line so you could see a little bit better. But basically, where the pin is the return, and I just cut it like 1 inch or 1.5 inches wider than the return, and I affix it. You remove the tape on the one side and you affix it. And then the other side, I always peel back the tape and fold it under. Otherwise, it's impossible to grab when you turn the valance right side out. And now you're reaching in and trying to pull off that tape. So that's just a little tip there to fold it back so it makes it easier. So if it's on angled cascade, I still put it straight across like this. And of course, if it's just a straight across valance, I just put it right above the stitch line. There you can see, right? So then you just right side out your valance, press it together, and now you have this wire in here. And let me show you what a beautiful product it is. So this is a Moreland valance. And over here, I'll just show you on the short jabot here. Look at that return. Look how crisp that is. So the wire is in here. I just measure over my return and I bend that wire and it's sticking out a little bit here. This is that 1 to 1.5 inches in the front and the rest goes to the back. And now, if it gets banged around or anything, it's going to hold its shape. So that's my tip. I hope you find it helpful. Bye.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
So let me see if I can get everybody unmuted here real quick. I'm trying.
I just thought their videos were so good. So thank you to you three for being our first. I am going to put some of that Sela tape in my little prize bag because I do have some of that and it is very handy stuff.
I have used Selotape as well on my returns on balances, and it does make a difference, a huge difference.
I've
Nice.
been using floral wire,
Uh-huh.
but it's nice to have it taped to it
Yeah, I
instead
like
of
the
floating
sticky.
around on the bottom.
Yeah, the sticky makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. Because it basically is floral wire with tape on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So the
And then
flower does not have the sticky part on it. Is that right?
the floral wire.
Right. Right.
Right.
Okay.
And how
Good.
about that tack kit that Jesse Lee showed? Holy cow! I'm gonna find a I know where a needlepoint store is nearby. I'm gonna go see if they have it or if they can at least order it for me.
I love
It,
that idea.
it
Yeah.
did look like they went in very smoothly, which I still have those plastic head ones that kind of hurt your hand when you're trying to push them in, and
Me too.
many of them are busted now, and I thought that little tech kit looked really great.
And Laura Nelson, I am going out and buying a laser level. That is brilliance. I mean,
I've been using, yeah, I've been using that for a very long time. Even when, like I said, when I didn't have a gridded table, it was you just lay the fabric out and you can line stuff up. What was I doing the other day? Oh, I'm making really long panels and I'm marking across the panel as it lays on the table. For the stay stitching, they're stationary panels. So I just picked a point 70 inches down from the top, lined it across, and that's where I put safety pins, and that's where I'm going to put my stay plates across that. And I also used it to help grid my table.
mhm.
Oh, good idea.
I tried the gridded table with my husband and my son, and it was an afternoon in frustration. We couldn't get it. I don't know if it was too cold, too humid. I don't know what it was. So I just laid the canvas out, let it sit for a couple days, humidity, steam it. And then about 2 weeks later, then I put the grids on, grid it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love that. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It's meant for hanging pictures on the wall, but I don't think I've ever used it for that.
Well, I saw one being used by a wallpaper installer. I was installing a bunch of window treatments and they were doing wallpapering and it was a husband-wife team and she would hit the grid, so, use that laser level
Yeah.
so that he would hit the join of his wallpaper perfectly on the wall. And that was the first time I really saw it in use.
Yeah.
And I was impressed even then, but you have made me like totally get why I need one here. Yeah, I mean, wow. And to me, that would even help installing drapes because you could hit a level for your
Yes,
rods and stuff too.
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
So
only
those,
time I used a laser level was when I had very long drapes that I had to hang on my sun porch because they were velvet and
mhm,
I wanted them to stretch. So I did the header first and then hung them. And then to find the hem after a couple days of stretching, I used a laser level, like you said, to mark with
Yeah.
pins along the bottom, and it worked out beautifully. But yeah, I love any and all uses for a laser level. So thank you, Laura, so much.
and Laura, that was Black and Decker. That's the one you use?
It was a Black and Decker, and I have another one I can't remember. Stanley Black and Decker, the cheapest one you can get at a hardware store.
Mhm.
And it just runs on I think 1 or 2 AA batteries. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I just, I can think of a ton of reasons why you would want to use one. It just
Oh yeah, yeah.
lining up your pattern totally did it for me. As much time as I have spent trying to get patterns
I know.
straight on my table, that just like takes, because to me, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm working in my workroom, I'm always looking for time saving
Yeah,
because time is money and that eats into your profit. So
yeah.
I've
thank you,
got
guys.
one that sits on my table. It's a right angle, so it shoots at both directions. And it just
Oh,
sits on the
Hmm.
table. It's
that's
Cool.
I think I got it on Amazon or it could have been Home Depot.
huh, good
Did
idea.
Kelly Garfield get her question answered? She wanted to know, Sue, if so you inside it out and then pull the tape, she asked. So I'm
It
Hey,
out.
Sue,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Oh,
can you hear me? Hi.
Hi.
So I've tried to use that before and I don't
Okay.
know, I was challenged by it. So so you put it on and then flipped everything inside out and then you just like reach
So
in and peel it?
yeah. So it's already inside out. And then take the tape off the one side, put it on so it's affixed there. Take the other side, start to pull it off, tuck it under, right? And let it sit there. And then when you right side it out, reach back into the valance and you'll feel that little tab that you turned under and you just pull it and then, you know, press your fabric together. I do it like that because I often have cording or some type of trim in there and I want to make sure all that is pushed out before I take that last piece of adhesive off and really stick it together. You know, because
Okay.
once, I mean, not that you couldn't pull it apart if you make a mistake, but
It's
you
pretty
want to make
sticky.
sure
Yeah.
yeah, you want to make sure that it's all like, you know, pressed out nice before you know, do that.
Perfect.
Stick it
Okay,
together.
cool. Now I understand why.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
a great tip. That's a
I've
great
got
tip.
lots more videos to go, so we're gonna keep moving.
Okay. This is fun.
All right, here we go. So our next group of videos is Lulu Designs with Shannon and Tiana, Jonathan Bennett from Unsprung Upholstery, and Judy Turner from Domicile Design.
Hi, I'm Shannon. And I'm Tiana. We're from Lulu Designs. We're here today to tell you our favorite thing that we have in our workroom. Yes, welcome to our workroom. This is a versatile table we got from Home Depot with nice swivel wheels. Might be called a toolbox utility table. Don't remember that part, but it has lovely wheels that lock, drawers for storage, and a crank that is removable, cranking us up or down. But the best part is what Shannon's husband has done for us. He built us this nice, lovely, versatile table topper that we add on quickly and simply. And it allows us to move around the workroom, but our table up here for fabric being transported here or there, as well as a sewing table. It also allows us to crank up to meet as an extender table to our tables, giving us how much more?
292 inches with 2 tables and 2 extenders.
Oh.
This is the short top. We do have a long top that matches the width.
Awesome. But my favorite part about this is that when we don't need it, we can tuck it right in here, nice and tight under these custom-made tables that we have.
My favorite part is my husband built these tables with the garage, but also this really flat, fabulous end with tips from Winston Workroom. Love it.
Yep, giving us a nice square attachment for the
That's
extender,
cool, too.
giving table lines, nice and precise. Thank you.
Thanks for visiting.
Bye.
Wow.
Jonathan.
Hey, this is Jonathan from Unsprung Upholstery up in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, welt, because we all know it can make or break a project. So here's my diagram of how fabric is laid out and how welt is laid out here in our shop. So as we all know, these are the selvages of fabric. This is the straight grain of fabric going into the bolt. This is the cross grain of fabric that's perpendicular to the selvages. This is a true bias that's always 45 degrees to be true bias. Anything else on a slant is just considered a bias. In our shop, we use what I call the upholstery slant. So we take our welt stick that I'll show you shortly. We put the bottom edge of the stick here, straight across, about 12 to 14 inches up from the cut edge. And that's where we draw our first line to start our welt. All right, so this is my welt stick. It's a piece of aluminum bar. It's 1 3/4 inches wide and it's 60 inches long. And I bought this at the Metal Supermarket here in Richmond. They also have an 800 number and a website if you want to buy one. And it comes in different thicknesses as well. This one's 1/8 inch. So when we put this on our fabric, we put the corner down here at the cut edge. We lean this up on a slant so you're 12 to 14 inches away from the cut edge, depending on how much yardage you have and what your needs are. And then we draw our first line here for the welt, this side for the welt, and then we go right on up. Draw, 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 until we have 3 miles of welt. Then we cut it out and make it up. Okay, so here are a couple of visual samples of what happens when you sew welt on the top versus what happens when you sew welt under the bottom. So these are both pieces of cotton duck that were cut on the cross grain, selvage to selvage down here. Both of the ends to my left here are level, but you can clearly see over here, this one was sewn with the welt on top. This one was sewn with the welt under the bottom. And you can see that there's almost 3/4 of an inch difference between the two. If you're trying to do a cushion that needs to fit exactly, then you're losing 3/4 of an inch here by sewing the welt on the top versus sewing it face down the way I'm going to show you shortly. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to show you how I sew welt under the bottom of the fabric. So this is the face of the fabric that's face down. We have our welt that we're going to make and apply simultaneously so that it's really fast. So I've already got the needle under the machine. So here we go. I'm going to get my hot dog in my bun. My edge is level for everybody. And just stop. Then I'm going to get myself straight, hot dog in the bun, edge is level. I'm going to sew up to a 1/2 inch away from this cut edge right here. And then I'm going to back up so that I can get here to make my relief cut. I'm going to cut straight in right to that stitch for my relief cut. Then I'm going to drive right back up to the 1/2 inch away, needle down, hot dog in the bun. Just take it and turn it, and you just wrench it under there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how flat it is. Thanks for tuning in on Weltorama. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Jonathan.
That was incredible.
And then next we have Judy Turner.
Hi, it's Judy Turner with Duso Design and Centurion Roman Shade, and I wanted to show you what's in my workroom this week. This is the inspiration picture from the designer. I have 7 shades for the kitchen and 1 shade on this lower. It's the same scalloped hem that she wants in both. So some people I know will make up a mock-up in fabric. And I wanted to show you that I've mocked this up in newsprint for several reasons. And the main one being, I wanted to be able to do my scallop edge and have a nice crisp edge. And then I wanted to play with the fold spacing down so I don't have too big of a stack on it. And I wanted to be able to lay the fabric and the folds flat down over themselves so that I could make sure that I had just the amount of reveal that I wanted at the bottom hem without having too much. I just wanted to show about 1 inch at the low point and have all the folds on top of it. So that's what I ended up with. And then I also needed to know on the back, it's going to be fully lined, but I need a separate piece of lining because I'm going to pillowcase this shaped edge and I'm going to do a concealed grip. So I needed to know with newspaper where the fold, where the top fold, the first fold was going to be, which corresponded to the fold in the back. And that's going to be where my bottom rings are going to be placed. And the orbs are there. And so I do a double 2 inch. This is going to be lined inside with 2 inch Skirtex and a hem, the steel hem weight in here, and the hem grip will go in the center here so that for the client, it's up under the contour of the shape, but not too high up under that they can't reach it. So I needed to determine that. And I felt like newspaper was the best option to give me a close approximate of what I wanted it to look like. So if you want to see the results, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. That's Duso Design and Centurion Roman Shade on Facebook, and on Instagram, Duso Design, and it would be Centurion RS_widget for Instagram. And you could see how they turned out. They should be done in a week or 2. Thanks.
These are such good videos.
Thank you. it shows here that Seal is also in this group, but she's not. She's in the next group. So just ignore her name there, but we can discuss those videos. What do we think about that table situation?
I want one.
I want
Great.
two.
Yeah, I'm with you, Robin. Maybe I should have two. Not only that, you got even storage in there because you've got a drawer. That makes it even more
I
valuable.
definitely am getting that for sure.
Yes, that is a total
I have
get.
to
At the
refill.
end, if anyone mentioned a product or something, I have a slide at the end that shows what all those products are, so you can take a photo of that page or that slide at the end too. But
And where they got them?
yes, a link to where I found them anyway. I don't know if people bought them maybe different places, but the utility tables from Home Depot, but all the custom building that her husband does,
Yeah,
you're kind of on your own there.
I know. I mean, what a great tool. And the fact that it's slid under her table and doesn't take up valuable space elsewhere in the workroom was just fabulous.
Yeah. And you can, wheel it to your
Sewing
'cause a
machine.
lot of people don't have the built-in counters you would want for all the drapery widths and stuff right next to their machines. So that's such a good thing to have. Convertible.
Very.
Nice.
And
Okay.
then Jonathan, of course, his welt tips are so good. I think I took his class last year at CWC and realized that sewing welt from the bottom is definitely the way to go.
So he also did a demo during the vendor day this year, and he was doing the welt on the bottom and doing the hot dog in the bun, which I think is hilarious the way he described it. But that kind of is what it is. And I have heard he actually did a webinar for us as well. What was it, a year or two ago? And talked about doing encasing your welt at the same time you sew it to your top. And I've never been brave enough to try it. So I come home from CWC this year and I thought, I am trying it now. And I had like 20 pillows waiting to be made. And I thought, by golly, I'm going to save myself some time. I will never sew my welt independently of attaching it to the top piece of your pillow ever again. It is so efficient and it totally comes out perfect and it saves you an enormous amount of time. So that is a
Yeah,
great
I
tip.
need to try that. I do so much cording. I make so much cording by itself and then go
Just
attach it to stuff.
Yeah.
I can't
Right.
wait to try that. That was incredible.
And you're not wasting your welt cord because whenever I would do it, I would try to guesstimate how much welt cord I'm going to need for my strips.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just do a bunch of strips, attach them, and just feed that welt cord through. And now you're saving yourself welt cord as well. It is like the best tip ever.
Yeah. And I always wondered how the upholsterers did their welt cord because I always do it on the true bias and which wastes a lot of fabric, but I reuse it for other projects. But whenever I would get something upholstered, it looks like they cut it straight across. And of course it's not straight across. So it's just on this slight slant. So like that was incredible.
Yep.
I've always done
Jonathan
my
is
welt.
brilliant. He really is, you guys.
I've always done my welt that way just because, it's quicker.
Yeah.
But I also don't do like the top and bottom separately. I sandwich everything together and just go
So
right
you've been
through.
doing it that way all along, Robin?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't because I think I felt like my welt wouldn't come out as nice and neat.
That's how I feel, but I'm going to try it.
Oh, it'll
Make
come
that
out.
work.
It
Yeah.
comes out.
I have tried it and it takes a little bit of getting used to kind of feel like you're holding everything together, but
Sure.
the corners are so much better, especially and I didn't get this part until this video, is that he sews up into that 1/2 inch and then backs up and then cuts. So it's exactly where it needs to be cut. And then the turn is just
It's spot on the way he does it.
Yeah.
So
He's a
that's
master.
everybody's homework for tonight.
Yeah.
Robin, How do you do the zipper when you get to the zipper?
I skip, so I'll do, especially with a pillow, I'll start at the lower right-hand corner and
Mhm.
sew sandwich together. And then I
Yeah.
come in about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I lift my foot, I do the well, it ends up being on the top, but just for that 20 inches or whatever it is. And then I'm back to sandwiching together that 1.5 inches on the other side,
Mhm.
get to my corner, clip, and just stitch all the way around. And then I put my zipper in later.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's quick.
super good. And then does anyone else use the newspaper to make these lovely templates and the patterns? Like, I thought that was so good because, using muslin or whatever is not as crisp and kind of moves around and shifts on you, but I liked
It
your
was
idea.
great. A great way to figure out your ring placement and all kinds of things, your shape. It's
Mhm.
perfect.
I have used butcher paper, which is the brown paper, and it's kind of the same thing. I use it when I'm templating out window seat cushions. You know how sometimes you have those little funny corners and you can mark them. And I've also found window seats aren't always level and even. So I get a better cushion when I template it because it's more exact. So that paper comes in handy for many, many different things.
I
You
And
know,
save the brown
fine.
paper from when they crumple it all up in stuff boxes, when you get shipments.
this
Good
was
idea.
on
I
a,
iron it
the
out
one I
or
used
roll.
was true butcher paper on a roll. I don't even remember how I got it. It was such a big roll. I've used it for a long time and now it's gone. So I'm going to have to probably get some of the paper like what was just shown in the video, which is fine. It's the same kind of paper.
I imagine you could probably find it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby maybe, but
Yeah. At Amazon, wherever. I mean, I know it's out
yeah.
there. You just got to find it.
Costco. Catherine says Costco has butcher paper.
Oh, and you know what? You're right, Catherine. I think the roll that I had, I got at BJ's. So yeah, at any of those big box stores, you can find it on a roll, in a quantity, because you want quantity. It's cheaper.
They use
Okay.
that a lot in construction to protect floors and things like that. So you could even get a roll of that at Home Depot. I used the gridded roll that I think Rolly or Walwax sells, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Swedish
I like
food.
that too.
They both sell it. It's a good product too.
I've
But
always had trouble with the amount of reveal that I wanted to, show at the bottom. And I do all the calculations and I still, for some reason, it doesn't quite hit up right. And I've never figured out why. And that paper just, it solved a big problem for me, because when you have banding down there, that's where I have never been able to get it just right. So this is wonderful. Thank you very much, Judy.
Great. And then Diane says that they also have it at Uline and places like that. So that is a product I don't have included on the slide at the end, but there's many places it looks like to get that.
yeah.
Okay, let's keep moving. And our next presenters are Kate Winton of Kate Winton Designs, Seal de Guglielmo of So Much More, and myself from Duso's Drapery.
Hi, my name is Kate Winton, and yes, it looks like I have a pole coming out of my ears. I'm going to show you my favorite way of cutting a table round so that it doesn't fray. Hold on, I gotta turn this bad baby around. Here I'm showing you that I'm drawing my line with chalk, and it's very easy to do. And then I'm grabbing my scissors and I'm gonna ziggy zag, really tiny ziggy zags. I call them ziggy zags because they're tiny. And then here it shows that no fraying will occur on the grain. And here's the right side of the velvet.
just a beautiful, no fray way of.
Sorry, Kate, your video a little bit cut off. So I don't know if you want to tell us what you were going to finish up saying, or you can tell us at the end. Here's from Seal.
I had a really hard time trying to decide which of the many, many things I've been taught by other people to do for this little tidbit that Carrie was asking for. First of all, great idea, Carrie. So thank you for that. So I was thinking about some of the things we don't like to do in our workroom, and use our seam ripper is one of them, because if we're using it, we've made a mistake. So let's find the best way to use it. I learned this from Ann Johnson. First of all, the red dot is the part that should be under your stitches so that you can safely rip stitches. And you can see how awkward this is, not just because I'm trying to film it, but because it just doesn't move that easily. So here's another tip that I learned from Anne. Make sure that whatever you are doing, whatever you're going to be ripping the stitches out of, you secure to your work table with a pin. That keeps it nice and taut. And then you can run your seam ripper right along there very quickly and rip those stitches out fast. Because let's face it, we don't want to be ripping out stitches anyway. Let's make it as productive as possible. Thanks for this idea and putting it together, Carrie.
And here's one from me.
Hi everybody, I'm Carrie Duso. This is my workroom, Duso's Drapery Co., and I'm located in Mason, Michigan. I'm doing this video for you today because I have asked many of you to contribute your videos, and I thought I should also participate. And also, number two reason, I did need an even number of videos. So here we are. My share with you today isn't necessarily the best thing I know, but it does make me very happy when I get to use it. And this tip includes the clampers. And this is great for when you need an extra hand at your work table. I clamp this to the side of my table, and it helps hold any of these many rolled goods that we have in the workroom. You just set it on the top and it stays put, and you can roll off as much of this stuff as you need, which is sometimes quite a lot. It keeps it in place. Sometimes when you're tugging on these strings and things, they roll out of reach on your table or even off your table and onto the floor, which is very annoying. So I find this little clamper as my as an extra hand at my table. It works really well. I also use it sometimes for zippers if I'm needing to cut several zippers off the roll. And between this, holding it, and my grid table or the side measuring tape, you can easily just clip many lengths as you need.
See.
Even when you're doing a lot of hand sewing and you just want your thread to come off easily, not get tangled off the top or roll, like I said, away out of reach. This is just a handy way to quickly and easily have thread at hand. And that's my tip. Hope you liked it.
Okay.
That was awesome.
So there we have it. Just a couple of more great tips. Let me stop my share.
Carrie, I never thought to use my clamps that way. And
And
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sure that
using it. That's so smart.
also learned that from Ann Johnson when I took her efficiency class with Sue Berry and Kelly Garfield and Jill Despagna here. That was just an incredible class. If anybody gets a chance to do that, I would recommend it. But yeah, so many great things just like that and more.
I use the clamps also. I'll put two on the end of my table and it keeps the fabric rolls from rolling off when I have a little bit of fabric and I'm just rolling out, and half the time they roll off the table and onto Arlo. So runs.
I'm sure Arlo appreciates that too.
Yes.
And I love
Kate, I liked how you were using a weight to support your string for your circle template. That was smart.
yes, thank you. I also, since the Ann Johnson's efficiency class was mentioned, I just want to let you know if anybody wants to take it. I'm going to host in March on the 25th in Rumson, New Jersey. And so it's 4 days, but I'll send out information and I'm sure Ann will too.
That'd be great.
That's great. It's such a great opportunity. That's great of you to do that, Kate. And then were you saying something at the end where it cut off?
Yeah, I cut it off, unfortunately. As you know, I was the last minute person to do this, but no, I was making a large amount of tabletops and table rounds, and they're not supposed to have a hem. It's just supposed to look like, a finished fabric at the end, so it's not going to be thick. So instead of using fray away, which can, for wovens, sometimes it could, not discolor, but you can see that when it dries it's a different color. So I figured this way out just so that it wouldn't fray.
I've never
Good,
seen
good.
that before. I love that idea.
I did too. Yeah, those little.
And if you cut the fabric on the wrong side, you'll actually see the grain, whether it's a print or a woven. And so you just have to do that small little part that's straight on the grain, just ziggy-zaggy it. I don't know why I call it that, but it really works. And I've done it on wovens and also on taffetas for table rounds.
I think it's amazing. How did you come up with the little ziggy zag? I'm just so impressed with how none of that velvet stuff is coming off.
I know. You have to take just really little cuts, like really quick. At first, I was using a rotary and it wasn't doing what I needed to do. But if you have sharp scissors, it's a game changer.
It's amazing how that works.
Thank you.
And Seal, I love the seam ripper tip, because once I did learn that tip of putting the little red end under a certain point and tensioning it, and it is a huge time saver because, like you said, nobody likes to rip seams. The other tip is always make sure you have a very sharp seam ripper, because a dull one is just as bad when you're trying to rip out seams. And I don't know about you guys, but I tend to keep mine too long. And then when you get a new one, it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I change it out sooner? Because that's a very cheap tool.
Yeah.
So,
and you
Laura has a good tip to Kate. She says, suggest to Wolf to create scissors to create a tiny pinking shears type of scissor.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
So I thought it was just amazing how as soon as you attach in Seal's video, attach your work down, and just holding it taut like that just creates enough tension where it can just zips right through. So talk about time saving and
big time
frustration saving. Thank you so much, Seal. Kate?
My pleasure.
All right, let's get to our last group here. And we have Janelle Deck of Adaptive Textiles, our very own Robin Matthews of Seems So Right, and Susan Woodcock, Home Deck Gal. And I do want to mention, Robin, that you might want to narrate your video when it comes up.
Are you ever frustrated when you start sewing and the thread pulls right out of the needle like this? Ah. Well, let me give you a tip to make sure that never happens again. Okay, I'm gonna rethread the needle. Get started. All you need to do is make sure that this take-up lever is, you end and you start always with it in the upright position where the needle has, I'm gonna hold the threads here, hand roll the needle so it's gone up and over and on its way down, and the take-up lever is in the fullest upright position. If you start and end always in that position, you'll never again pull the thread through. And so see me hand rolling, one more stitch over the top, take-up levers at the top. Now I can take it off. Start again, it's already in that position. You'll often even eliminate your need to hold the threads because you don't get a rat's nest if you start and end with the thread in that position. Okay, here I'm going to start one more time. Threads in the back, foot down, hand roll. Okay, it's in the upright position and the needle's on its way down. Start and hand roll it. So this is all the way up and the needle's on its way down. And then everything releases. It works because when the take-up lever is in that position, the thread has pulled through the maximum amount. So there's no more to pull through. And also, if you are in the habit of just pulling your fabric out at any other stage, it's likely that this thread is somewhere partway around the bobbin. That's when you get the rat's nest. That's when it's difficult to pull away. So there you go. There's a 1 to 3 minute tip.
Okay, so I was sitting in the back of a CWC class, just chatting with someone, and she mentioned that we were talking about bobbins, and I was saying, oh, they run out, and I'll do like 15 at a time of the color that I'm using if I have a huge project. And she said, you don't wind your bobbin when you're sewing? And I bought my machine years ago from a vacuum store. I didn't know I could. I'd never seen an industrial machine before, had no clue I could do my bobbin as I was sewing. So that's my tip.
Really? And last one is from Susan.
Hello, I'm Susan Woodcock.
Oh, I love her shirt.
Best thing I ever learned. Well, that's a really hard question. There's so many things. But as I look back across my career, the one thing that I think is probably the best thing I ever learned is hand sewing. When I started my business in 1988, hand sewing is what set me apart. It's what attracted the high-end interior designers to hire me to make their window treatments. Hand sewn drapery side hem is gorgeous. There's really no better way to finish a drapery side hem. Even if you use a blind hemmer on the bottom hems and maybe on the side hem that's going against the wall, but that leading edge with a hand sewn hem is gorgeous. I love to hand sew trims. When you're hand sewing a trim, especially an expensive trim on an expensive fabric, you're being careful with it. You're giving it a gentle application that could be removed if needed, or if you made a mistake. hand sewn trim blends in with the fibers. You're almost weaving the trim to the material. And hand sewn pillow closures. When you hand sew a pillow closed, there's no front or back to the pillow or bottom. So I don't always hand sew pillows closed, but I had one designer for many, many years that I worked with, and that is exactly how she wanted her pillows finished, not with a zipper. I also like to hand tack drapery pleats, and it's a beautiful finish. A hand tack pleat is a more traditional look, and you don't have to have a drapery tacker. So hand sewing, I think, has been a big part of my career. I learned it from my mom and her sewing business. And I want to share a few of my favorite hand sewing threads and tools. So the first would be John James long darners, number 7. And I also keep the larger size number 9 long darners for when I have really thick things I need to sew through, like really heavy drapery pleats. A couple of my favorite threads for hand sewing is the dual duty hand quilting thread. And I've used this my whole career, and it is UV stable, very strong. It's a glazed thread, so it's smooth, and it comes in a lot of colors. Another thread that I really like from Coats is Coats Turco Satin. And this is a much larger thread. It's Tex 90, very strong. And I use this thread to sew pleats on the walking foot machine or on the straight stitch machine and for hand sewing. So it's a great thread for both hand sewing and machine sewing. And this is a new thread that my friend Angie Seacamp introduced me to. And this thread is from Wawak, and it's called OptiPop. And it's a really slick, smooth bonded polyester. I love this for hand sewing trims. It sort of glides in and out of the trims, and it comes in some really bright colors, which is nice. And it also comes in neutral colors and different sizes of thread. So I'm using the size 45 for hand sewing. And also good, sturdy glass head pens, the Prim pens. I love those for pinning my hems in place, pinning trims on. And I find that these are by far the best pens for me in my workroom. And as far as scissors, a good pair of nippers or high leverage shears, something that's easy to pick up and clip the threads. And that's all you need for hand sewing. So this little bit of materials and supplies, some skill, and a lot of time. And hand sewing can be a big part of your workroom business too. Thank you for asking me to participate in the best thing I ever learned for the WCAA chapter. Bye.
There we have it from Janelle, Robin, and Susan.
That was awesome. It really was. It really was.
Yeah.
I had no idea about a walking foot machine. I have lost my thread and had it sucked up. I've lost count. It's been so many times, and it's never going to happen again now. Thank you, Janelle.
Yes, Janelle sent me that video probably a week or so at least ago, and I have used it. I've used that tip every day in my workroom already, and because I'm notorious for not holding on to my threads and they just get lost, and it's so frustrating. It takes so much time, and that little nugget right there has been so worth it for me to
Yeah.
use. Hopefully all of you can get a lot of benefit out of that and all of these other tips too.
They were amazing. I knew
Um,
Susan was probably doing the hand sewing because she is a huge advocate of hand sewing, and I have also tried to, I advocate for that in my workroom with my designers, and they've bought into it because it does make a much more beautiful, custom-looking drape. But you have to have the time, so you got to make sure you charge for that.
yeah.
Because it's
But
faster than machine,
Mhm.
fiddling around with your blind hammer and moving everything off the table.
Yep. That's what I think. I don't even own a blind hemmer, so I hand sew my lower and side hems. I don't have room for a hand, or I've just chosen to not make room for a blind hemmer. Let me put it that way, because I really want to, promote the hand sewing in my workroom, and it really, you get fast at it after a while. It's not such a bad thing. That OptiPop thread, that's new to me. I want to order a spool from Walwack and see. I guess Walwack carries it, huh?
Never heard of that either.
Yeah.
And then Robin, I don't know if you had sound on your video or
I
not.
didn't.
I could barely hear you. Do you want to?
I had no sound.
Okay,
And you didn't
okay,
see me.
okay. So tell us what you were showing us in your video, please.
Oh, so I bought my machine from a vacuum store. I had never seen an industrial machine before, and I had it probably 6 years at least. And I was sitting in a CWC meeting in the back, just chatting. Donna Scott Johnson, we were talking about bobbins and them running out, and I was saying how I, would just wind up a whole bunch if I had a project I was working on in one color. And she said, "Oh, you don't wind your bobbin as you're sewing?" I said, "What?" Because I'd only sewn on a home machine where you have to stop everything and wind.
Sure.
So that was my tip, to wind your bobbin as you sew. It was a game changer for me.
Awesome. Awesome.
So what you're saying is when we buy thread for a particular project, buy two spools so you can have one dedicated for your bobbin and one for your sewing machine.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Always too. Okay, let's go back to the winner, the match game answers in case anyone I know it's afternoon already, so trying to be respectful of everybody's time. This is the picture of all the products that were mentioned, except for the newsprint or butcher paper or whatever that we already discussed. But if you want to take a quick snapshot of this page to get your hands on all of these great products and tips. Okay. And then these are the answers to our match game. So if we want to go through them, I actually don't have the original,
I do.
but I can read them off.
One was bobbin winding. That was Robin.
Robin. Number 1 was Robin. Number 2 was Judy Turner.
In the pattern making. Mhm.
Number 3, the seam ripping is Seal. Number 4, the workroom design is Lulu Designs, letter A. Number 5 was H, hand sewing, Susan Woodcock. Number 6 was B, which I think I said stay put machine thread.
Yes.
Now. And then number 7 was letter C, Laura's square,
Mhm.
yeah, with the laser level. And then number 8 is letter G, Jessie Lee Miller with her handy little tack kit. Number 9 is letter L, Sue Berry with the crisp returns. Number 10 was letter E. Kate sharing her zigzaggy, no fray cutting technique. And number 11 was I. That's me. I don't remember what I said. Oh, work table helper, something like that. And number 12 is D. Jonathan with his welt application. Oops. So, did anyone get like half of these right?
I only had 2 right.
You only had 2 right.
I had 2. I knew Susan did the hand sewing because that's her thing, and I knew Jonathan for the welt cord. The rest of them were just kind of
Well, it is a
idea.
guessing. It's totally in the dark. You got 5, Robin. Anybody else?
Good, Robin.
Did anybody else get 5 or more? It sounds like Robin's probably our
Yay!
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
on a roll.
You are just a
Hey,
winner.
Robin.
It's because Robin's birthday was the other day, you guys. So happy birthday to you, Robin.
So Robin can email me your address and I'll send you a little package.
I'm very excited about it.
Yay. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And if anybody wants to hang out and talk about CWC, we can continue that conversation. There's so much great things happening there. So
This was wonderful, Carrie. You did a fabulous job. I love your graphics. They were just so pretty. And what great tips. Wow.
I know. Thank you so much, everybody. I know it was just a big ask to take time out of your workroom day and set up a video and plan it and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing all those great videos. And hopefully all of our attendees are going to have a whole new lease on life, as they say, in the workroom, employing some of these great ideas.
This was awesome.
This was awesome.
Yep. We had some great attendance today, you guys. So if you're still on and we want to talk about CWC, if you were there, if you weren't there, stay on because you're going to hear how good it was. So, Carrie, what was your biggest takeaway from CWC?
You know, I always try to take a mix of classes to kind of like, well, all of them broaden your knowledge in big ways, but I think my favorite class was the Julie Tome and Judy Turner class with the pricing. Did you take that one, Jennifer?
I
Or
did
anyone?
not. I worked the event, so my classes were pretty much predetermined, but I was very curious about that one. Tell me
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I just think it's such a good conversation to have for workroom owners to really take a look at your numbers and your time and you know, getting value out of your time and expertise and charging what you're worth. That just so many of us seem to feel like maybe our husbands work and they bring in the money, and you know, it's like we're always sort of trying to justify for some reason that we don't have to charge a lot. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but what we have is just such a special skill, and just acting like we are true business owners and artisans is kind of a good thing to hear. And Julie Tome comes at it as with quite that point of view, and you know, she's got a huge workroom with very famous designers. So it's good to hear from someone like her, and they just kind of mapped it out how you can do that. They shared a lot of printables and um, just a lot of good ideas and mindset things that they talked about.
I think it's important that we remember that we have a very unique skill set that not many people offer, or not many businesses offer, because we are a business. And I know when I first started, I felt like I had to almost apologize for what I made or what I wanted to charge. You almost feel, oh, I'm sorry, you have to pay this much to me.
Right.
And you have to kind of get away from that. And like sending out an estimate for a large dollar number, it was very hard to hit send on my computer because I thought, oh my gosh, nobody will ever pay that. So you almost have to get out of that mindset of I am not my customer. So maybe that is something I could never afford to pay for, but the people who are employing you certainly can't afford it. So it's a luxury business. And we have to remember that we have luxury minded clients. And if they really want it, they will pay for it. So we
Right.
need to price accordingly because it's not right to give away our skills and our knowledge and our
For sure.
expertise. So I'm sure that was a great class. And I think a lot of people have trouble talking about pricing.
Mhm.
It's like a big fat secret, and it really shouldn't be. So there are places, there's certainly the custom the library is a good place that Seal hosts and owns. That's a really
Definitely.
nice place that things like that you can pose the question. This is the area I live in, because we all have to charge differently depending on what area of the country we live in. Um, the demographics are
And
different.
we need to each individually put the work into knowing what our numbers are, because like they say, not everyone has the same, expenses and
Right.
workroom overhead and things like that. So putting in the work for ourselves before you just go out and say, what are we charging these days? Because it depends
Depends on a lot.
on so many things. So
The other tip I learned on pricing is if you're overwhelmed with too much work, you're probably not charging enough.
that's a good one. That's a
So you need to up your prices. And if you up your price and now you're going to have more, not everybody should accept your estimate or your pricing. So if you may be turning, more business may be turned away because they can't afford you, but you should still be making the same or even more with fewer clients, so you won't be as overwhelmed.
funny how that works.
Yes, it
And
does.
Judy Tom actually said that you should be losing about 30% of your
Correct.
audience.
Yes. Yeah. If you're getting too many jobs, you're not charging enough. Either that or you're the only game in town, so everybody's there. So charge what you want, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
So anyone else want to share what they did or highlights of CWC? I just want to say what a fabulous venue also it was. And I think we talked a little bit before the webinar about just how many sponsorships there were. And I mean, we were fed well. We
we're entertained.
so taken care of, and the place was beautiful, and the entertainment, it was great.
It was awesome. I know I had the opportunity to work or be a volunteer at the conference. So I had the opportunity to kind of see the back end and the effort that goes into getting these classes, the teachers coming in and setting up and helping them out. And I got to we had so many new attendees this year. So, having the little ribbons on their badges was nice, so you could give them a little bit more attention and a warm welcome. And I felt like they were really having a great time. We learned so much. One of the classes I volunteered in was the bed class, the custom beds with Aaron Studum, I think. He's out of Massachusetts. He actually brought a bed with him and put it together in the class in like 5 minutes. And it was absolutely stunning.
It
And
was.
his instructions were spot on. I think everybody in that class walked away knowing that they could go home and build a custom bed because he made it so simple. That is a class I probably would have never ever signed up for because I don't do upholstery. I'm so glad I took it though, because you always learn something, and I gained a greater appreciation for the upholsterers.
That was my favorite class. I
Was
loved how he made the center part a separate piece, and then
yes.
he piped around that, and it made it so crisp and clean. To me, that was like, mind blowing. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did he do that? You could incorporate that on cornices where he had the outer part to then place the inner section to where it just overlaps a portion, and then you put your cording around that. I just thought it was great.
It was. It was so custom and so beautiful. And I asked him after the class, we happened to be sitting in on the French mattress cushion class, which also was really good. And I sat right next to him and I said, is this a niche business that you have? Is this all you do is custom beds? Because to me, that could have been a niche and it'd be a great business. He makes custom furniture too. So he is a extremely talented fella. And I think he was a great choice for a presenter at
His
CWC.
class was opposite mine. I would have taken his class, so I think we need to have him do a virtual webinar for us.
I think that's a
It
great
would
idea.
be great.
I think that's a great idea. Such a nice guy. He was so nervous, you guys, before his class, and he just did so good. Once he got going, you could tell his confidence built, and he just was awesome. So yeah, I'll figure out how to get in touch with him and ask him.
So I remember the last morning when I was sitting and having breakfast with Jennifer, and Heather Taylor was there and she was teaching the shear class, and Jennifer told me I should change the class that I was supposed to take and take her class. And Jennifer, that was the best advice you gave me. Her class was so awesome. Just what she did, and even how she did some of her Romans and the fabrics that she chose. It was such an inspiration for me. And so I appreciate that. So thank you very much, Jennifer. That great advice.
She also taught last year at CWC. So if anybody took her class then and you all saw, she is probably one of the most creative people I think I've ever heard present.
And such enthusiasm with everything that she talked about. And I was like, oh, I didn't want it to end. It was great. That was one of the best classes I took. So thank you.
Susan, I bet you can incorporate some of her ideas in your lampshades.
Oh yeah, that's what I walked away with. And I said, oh my God. So I've been actually collaborating with, oh jeepers, if I can remember her name. The Jersey girls will know. She was doing the quilting. She was one of the quilting vendors.
Debbie DeFrancisco.
Yes, and I've been back and forth with her, and we're going to work together on a couple of things with my lampshades. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm incorporating a whole bunch of different things.
That's wonderful, Susan.
Susan, was this who is it you're talking about again? Heather? Is that Heather?
Yes, Heather Taylor.
Taylor. Okay.
She did a class about shears, and I was supposed to take Julie Thomp's class, and I mean, it would have been really great, but it was great inspiration with her class. It really was. I mean, some of the things she did she had feathers and beading, and put the beading, or was it beading or sand? And when she did a room and folded it up, it was all in the fold. It was incredible, some of the things. It was all shears, and it was just unbelievable, some of the things that she did.
She's quite artistic.
Yeah. And I think it was her personality, just, that made so much more. So that was my highlight of CWC.
Very cool.
I agree. I think that Heather Taylor just thinks outside the box so much, and she's so creative. And so she was kind of like my eye candy class that I took. And then of course, Robin and Ann Johnson, I mean, they just so much information, and some of it I had heard before, but I think that when I heard it or when I learned it before, I wasn't ready to really figure out what it was. And so just seeing certain things over and over again have really helped. So I loved both of those classes for a good foundation.
That's a good takeaway. That's a very
Awesome.
good takeaway. Anyway, Robin, what about you? What was your favorite class? I know you took some.
I was only able to sit in on two. I
Mhm.
sat in on Carrie, Carrie Culberson's
Mhm.
trim class. That was really good. She did a beautiful job. And then I took Jonathan's ottoman class,
I
which
was in that class as well. That was good.
he's always just so entertaining.
Yeah.
So, I did get tips from both of those. It's always helpful.
I
And it's
felt like
nice
the
to get
ottoman
it.
class. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's nice to know that what you're doing is sort of on the right path because I'm self-taught. So everything I do, I've sort of winged, and then I pick up the tips along the way, or just reinforces that what I came up with is what other people are doing.
That's exactly right, Robin. You're a problem solver. Such a great problem solver for me.
Thank you. Only because of desperation.
I think one of Jonathan's greatest one of his greatest tips is there's many different ways to come to the same end, to do the same thing. So he'll show you his way. He goes, but I know there's other ways out there that you can get to the same conclusion, right?
Yes.
He's a very good instructor. And I walked away from that ottoman class feeling like, I could totally build one. I mean, he showed how really quite simple they are, and there was 3 different types there, like the little poof ottomans. Those have become quite popular, and I thought, that is
I love the
something.
slip covers. I hadn't
Yeah,
ever thought of just a, easy slip cover
yeah.
for one.
What a great add-on sale. He just had this nice simple slip cover that takes what, maybe an hour, hour and a half to make, and you can change the covers out seasonally. So what a great add-on sale to his clients that he's offering
That
there.
really is.
Yeah.
I just wish we could take all the classes.
I know.
Me
That's
too.
everybody's
I feel
takeaway
like I
every
missed
year.
out.
They're all so
We always
good,
say she needs to
it's hard
repeat them.
choices.
What's that, Robin?
We always say she needs to repeat
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we don't get to see them.
that's true.
Yeah.
I love CWC because
Speaking
of
of your
the community and the sharing. Everybody's just so open and willing to share and help. You just kind of do feel like family, it's a rare thing in our industry to have people that are so supportive.
Yes.
But
I really look forward to it.
now, what is it, Jennifer? What is it like, with some of the classes? We can have them as webinars. Is there a time limit that we have to wait for them to be as part of our webinar?
I think Robin, you can answer that since you're a
Yeah,
presenter.
it's usually 3 months, 3 months before and 3 months after.
Okay, so we can, if we miss some of those great classes, we can perhaps have them as part of our webinar so that we can always refer to this as often as we need to, which is a great thing about our chapter.
Correct. So that is why when we are at CWC, I am actively stalking these people there. So just to try to come up with ideas and teachers that we can contact for our presentations the following year, and which we have most certainly done. We have actually had a number of the presenters at CWC in years past do presentations the following year because that period of time that they can't share has expired by the first of the year.
And it's so great because all of us have referred to those webinars how many times when we're working on a project. And, you go sit on a class, and if you're taking 6 or so classes, you remember them, but they all start to meld together, and it's like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. So that's why I'm so glad that we get to have those with our chapter.
Yep. Yep.
Well, you guys, it's 12:30. I don't know if we would just want to wrap it up.
I think we need to wrap it up. I have work to do.
Carrie, this was great.
This has been so much fun. And Carrie, thank you again so very much. This was such a wonderful idea you had, and you followed it through just perfectly. I'm very impressed. This
I
is
want to
just,
do another one. You gotta do it.
I know, right? I think maybe you should become an annual presenter now for
I
this.
was gonna say that too.
Now that we've seen how it's done, I think
Yeah.
it would be even easier next time.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job. So thank you
Thank
again.
you.
And thank
Thank
you to all the presenters who offered up those videos and took the time to do those. That was
So
very
much.
special. And I feel very honored that they chose to do it for us. So thank you. This will be a great webinar for us to tap back into and watch again in our recorded section. So,
Yes.
all right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of the day and a great month. And we will see you in November.
Bye.
Bye.